Hey guys, what's up? It's Jack here and I am in the capital city of one of my favourite countries in the world, Thailand. It's an awesome, crazy place which is cheap and it's got some amazing things to do. So, I know a few of you guys have asked me for this video, so here are my top 10 things to do in Bangkok, Thailand. Now the first on my list is Erawan Museum, and this is definitely the most unique museum I've ever visited. The first thing you'll see when you get to this museum is one of the largest three-headed elephant statues in the world. It's a little bit out of the city, but not too hard to find. The elephant is 250 tons, 29 meters high, 39 meters long, and it took almost 10 years to build. Now the museum is actually inside the elephant and there are 3 levels, and this represents the Thai cosmos. So once you get inside the museum there's a lot of things to see. Statues, there's a beautiful staircase through the middle, but for me the highlight is definitely the large circular glass ceiling. Once you get to the top level there's a very psychedelic experience with some futuristic Buddha statues. Once you finish looking inside the museum you have the opportunity to go outside to some beautiful gardens. In the gardens you can see more mythological statues, some rare plants and some rock ponds where you can feed the carp. But definitely think this is a great place to see. It's not on your standard tourist guide, but it's a good spot and something very different to what you'd normally expect in Thailand. So next up on my list is the Temple of the Golden Mount, which is also known as Wat Saket. Now, this is an ancient temple that can be traced all the way back hundreds of years to the Ayutthaya period. So the Golden Temple is located at the top of this small hill, and when you start the short 300-step climb, you will begin at quite an unusual cemetery, which is covered in vines and has a pretty creepy vibe. As you start to make your way up the steps, there are many statues, there are gongs that you can bang. There's a small waterfall and there's some really interesting spots to stop off and see along the way. One thing that's particularly interesting about this temple is that every year there's an enormous temple fair here. It's definitely something worth checking out if you are in Bangkok, and it normally happens around November time. Once you've made it to the top you'll see a fantastic golden structure, some statues, an opportunity to make some donations and to pray. Also, one of the best things up on the top of this hill is some of the views you get to see of Bangkok. You really do get a good opportunity to see the city. In the temple you'll also find lots of statues of vultures, which are a reminder of when this temple was used as the crematorium and the dumping ground for 60,000 plague victims, and many vultures would come to feast on the bodies. This is definitely one of my favourite temples in Bangkok, and if you've been there before I would love to hear about what you think. Now the next on my list is probably the most important thing you need to see when you come to Bangkok. It's the Grand Palace and the Temple of the Emerald Buddha. This is the city's most famous landmark and of course the most popular hotspot for tourists. Try and come early in the day if possible to avoid crowds, and dress appropriately because if not they won't let you in. Now if you're walking around the grounds and some people come up to you to tell you that the temple is closed, ignore them if you can because it's a scam. So what they try to do is take you to a lot of the other attractions in the area and charge you quite a high price for it, so avoid these guys if you can. So unfortunately the kings don't actually live in this palace anymore, but it's still a very ceremonial place, and they have a lot of popular events that happen here every year for the royal family. There are many halls and gardens and parts of the temple that you can explore, so expect it to take a good few hours. So next up is probably my most favourite spot in Bangkok, which is Lumpini Park. Right in the heart of the city, this is a place where you can relax, you can do sport, and there's some amazing wildlife here as well. You'll often see a lot of people running on their bikes, families playing together here, but the main attraction for me is the massive water monitors that you see around here. If you wait long enough and look around, you'll easily see these guys, and there's a lot of other cool animals here as well, like some birds, turtles, and a load of cool plants as well, so definitely worth checking it out. If you're feeling adventurous, get on one of the swans and take a small pedal ride across the water. You'll get some good views of the city and the park as well. But definitely check this spot out if you can. Now, no trip to Thailand is complete without seeing the Thai national sport, the sport of Muay Thai. Muay Thai was the reason I initially went to Thailand in the first place as a martial artist, but this sport is incredible to watch. And Lumpini Stadium in Bangkok is the most famous place to watch this sport around the world. It's called the art of 8 limbs because you can hit with your fists, your elbows, your knees and your shins, and it's a great spectacle to watch. Some of the Thai fighters here are the best standard across the world, and you can see them clinching, fighting. You might be lucky to see some knockouts, but it's very technical and really well worth a watch. So Lumpini Stadium moved. It's not actually in Lumpini anymore, and it's about 30 kilometres outside of Sukhumvit area. So it's a little bit further out of the city. I definitely recommend maybe jumping in a taxi to get there. That's probably the best way. Check it out, watch some great fights, and let me know what you think about Muay Thai. Bangkok has an incredible amount of markets you can go to, including the floating market, some of the smaller local markets, but by far my most favourite is the Chatuchak weekend market. It's got a really high status across Bangkok and it's a very popular tourist spot. It's enormous. I think there's about 8,000 market stalls here, so on a typical weekend you can get hundreds of thousands of visitors coming here to do some shopping. So it's quite easy to walk around. There's lots of cool things you can see: clothing, handicrafts, food and beverages, a lot of art, antiques. You could spend a whole day looking at things here if you wanted. The most important thing to remember, especially anywhere else in Southeast Asia, is don't pay the original price you're told. You have to do some bargaining, you have to do some negotiation. So brush up on your skills if you can, so you can walk away with a great deal. Big cities like Bangkok have some awesome rooftop bars, and my favourite is the Sky Bar. If you've seen the second Hangover film, you'll definitely recognise this place from their trip to Bangkok, with the big golden dome at the top. It's best to go here for sunset and night time so you can see the city light up and all the skyscrapers below. You get a fantastic view of the river in the city, one of the best views in the whole of the city. But do be expected to pay high prices for drinks up here, as you can imagine. So it can be very expensive up here, so treat yourself to a nice cocktail and enjoy the view. So when you're travelling down the river in Bangkok, you'll notice Wat Arun, which is the Temple of Dawn. It's one of the most beautiful temples I've seen anywhere around the world, and it's very different to your standard temple in Southeast Asia. Best time to go here is early morning so that you can see the sunrise and you can avoid the crowds as well. This temple is beautifully decorated, there's coloured glass, there's porcelain everywhere, and the whole temple actually glimmers in the sun, so it's a really nice thing to see. If you fancy it, you can also climb up the staircase in the centre of the tower as well to get a better view of the top, so definitely worth having a look. You only need a few hours here, to be honest, but it's a good stop off on the way between some of the other temples as well. So check this place out if you can. So the final temple that you need to see, which is on my list, is Wat Pho, which is known as the Temple of the Reclining Buddha, because of the enormous reclining golden Buddha statue in the centre of the temple complex. Now this temple is only about 10 minutes walk from the Grand Palace, so definitely worth checking out as soon as you've finished up there on the same day if you can. Also, it's interesting to know that Wat Pho is actually regarded as the best place in Thailand to get a Thai massage. So if you haven't had a Thai massage before, it's very important that you get to do one in your time in Bangkok. And what better place to do it here, where you can get one of the best Thai massages in the world. Now last but not least on my list is Chinatown. Now the best time to see this is obviously in Chinese New Year if you can come, or some other Chinese festivals throughout the year. There is some amazing food here, arguably some of the best food in Bangkok can be found in Chinatown. One thing this place is very popular for is shark fin soup, but please avoid it at all costs. Because of so much demand, 100 million sharks are killed every year, and this is leading to some major problems with critically endangered sharks around the world. Apart from this, get some great Chinese food, have a walk around a very interesting part of the town, and let me know what you think. you like that video, please press subscribe, like this video and write a comment. Bye.